ATEL WLT. Exercise without movement. Functional. Isometrical. Contraction. By Bob Hoffman. World famous U8 Olympic weightlifting coach. Functional isometric contraction. System of static contraction. By the same author. How to be strong, healthy and happy. 400 pages, 300 photos, many in color. Weightlifting. 208 pages, History of American weightlifting. 816 arms. 240 pages, cloth-bound, 200 illustrations. Successful, happy marriage. 256 pages, bound in cloth. The Big Chest Book. 256 pages, heavy enamel paper, hundreds of photos. Secrets of Strength and Development. 240 pages, cloth-bound, enamel paper, hundreds of photos. Broad Shoulders. 306 pages, cloth-bound, heavy enamel paper, hundreds of photos. Better Nutrition. 256 pages, contains a healthful system of eating. Better Athletes. 400 pages, 300 photographs, cloth-bound. Guide to Weightlifting Competition. Authoritative book on weightlifting. Advanced Methods of Weight Training. Contains 24 complete training courses. The High Protein Recipe Book. Contains 1,000 high-protein recipes. Bob Hoffman's Daily Dozen. A simple system of training, with rules of healthful living. The Protein Story. Scientific facts about the most important food element. You can live longer. How 10 add 10 20, 30 years 10 your LFE. Protein, building blocks of life. Mere strength, health, pep and disease resistance. Exercise without movement. Functional. Isometric. Contraction. System of static contraction. By Bob Hoffman. N. World famous U.S. Olympic weightlifting coach. 1964. Bob Hoffman. York, Pennsylvania. Copyright 1962 by Bon Hoffman. York, Pennsylvania. All rights reserved. Functional symmetric contraction. System of static contraction. First edition 1962. Second edition, revised 1964. Published 1964 by Bob Hoffman. York, Pennsylvania. Printed in USA. Foreword. America is the richest country in the world. It has a great surplus of food. We should be the healthiest country in the world, but we come pretty close to being the sickest. Overeating of pork will. Itty foods, usually white flour and white sugar products, over. Drinking, smoking, overindulgence in general, and insufficient exercising or no exercising at all are chief reasons why we are not as strong as we should be. A full half of the cream of our youth has been rejected for military service. We are living in a troubled world. We have a rough future before us. To survive we must be able, ready and willing to work hard and long, to fight if need be. Don't you think that we should do something about it, in fact do more about it? I have been exercising regularly for more than 50 years. I have practiced just about every form of athletics and exercise, and have done a good job of making and keeping myself strong and healthy. For more than half of my life I have been trying to help others, teaching others, the easiest and best way to superphysi. Cal Fitness. One of our chief ways to help others has been publishing Strength and Health, the physical fitness magazine. We purchased the old Strength magazine, which was established in 1914, combined it with Strength and Health in 1935. We have been doing everything humanly possible to urge people to take better care of themselves. 10. Follow simple health rules, the most important of which is physical exercise. During these many years, one have written 20 full-sized books. Some of them contain 500 pages. All were written with the same purpose, to help people become stronger and healthier. Live. S. 6. Functional Isometrics contraction. Longer and more fully, to build a stronger and healthier America. I have prepared a score of physical training courses, and these courses have been used by millions of people to their great advantage. We have been devoting our full efforts to this work of building a stronger and healthier America. And now we have accelerated our efforts. We are in a position to do more about building this stronger and healthier America, this better America. The Bob Hoffman Foundation is dedicated to this task of building a stronger and healthier America, better athletes and better weightlifters. This foundation has as its directors a number of the nation's greatest scientists, men with worldwide reputations, men Dr. Francis Drury, Ph.D., like Alvin Roy, famous trainer and coach. My long-time associates John Topek, for 12 years United States. And also a world champion, John Grymick, the most admired physical specimen in the world, as Associate Editor of Strength and Heal. Men like Bill March, the famous athlete, the first to train the functional isometric contraction way with heavy weight resistance. And Louis Reek, the first, train with and succeed with pure functional isometric contraction against an immovable object. These men combined together, and with many others, to help in this wonderful work that is so essential to the future of our in fact to the survival of our country. They are now in a position, with the Bob Hoffman Foundation coordinating and aiding their efforts, to do more and better work. This book, and the 25,000 word course which has already become the Bible in this field. Functional isometric contraction system for weightlifters and bodybuilders, and the 1 minute a day, the functional isometric contraction way, exercise without movement course, are all a part of that work of building a stronger and healthier America. The Bob Hoffman Foundation is a non-profit organization. The author of this book serves as president, and is proud to report that in all the years of Strength and Health magazine, he has served without financial remuneration. He was president of a leading industrial plant. In fact, I am still president of 6 corporations, which provides forward 7. Enough to take care of my material needs. You cap only live in one house, no matter how rich you are financially, drive only one car, and only eat so much, and my habit is to eat but 1 meal a day. Although I do not need pay for the work I do, I am only one man. Not the richest man, for I have been promoting physical fitness and weightlifting for a long time. I have financed the American team in 51 international events, and some of these have been pretty costly. So the Bob Hoffman Foundation will only have a profit it can use. T0 advance its work if we receive some revenue from the work we do. Selling this book, selling the courses we have described, selling the equipment needed to practice this form of training are present ways of carrying on our work. If we have a surplus, we wish to use it to supply scholarships to deserving young men. This is being done in many nations, but not by our government, a private body such as ourselves has to do it here. We hope someday to receive a government grant to advance our work of research. Richer foundations could help us in our important work. Only time will tell if we can get more help and do more work, but the men I am surrounded with will go along just the same. The Bob Hoffman Foundation will do the best it can, but it will accelerate its essential work if we have more help. You who read this can help by following the advice we offer, by making yourself an admirable example of the functional isometric contraction system. You can tell others, you can persuade others. Oh, make use of this gift from heaven, the easiest and the quickest way. 1. Build strength and a fine-looking super healthy body. With the help of all of you, we will move faster in building this stronger and healthier America, in building better athletes so we don't have to be second to anyone. In 21 World Championships our team has won 7 times, we have been second 13 times. Third once. We don't want to be second to anyone. Let's work hard to make America even greater, stronger, healthier, filled with great athletes and healthy, hard-working people. EI. The best-known photo of Bob Hoffman, taken on his 33rd birthday. When this photo was taken he weighed 266.1/2 pounds, had a 52-inch chest, a 34-inch waist, and made and world record of 282 pounds in the one-arm lift overhead. A new method of building super strength. The development of the theory and the proper application of functional isometric contraction. Proving the value of functional isometric contraction. 27. A superior method of strength and muscle building. 37. 1 minute a day, the functional isometric contraction way. What is functional isometric contraction? A unique and result-producing system of training without a superpower rack. 55. Simple training devices you can use. The training course Louis Reek practiced. 67. The measurement of progress. 7. Strength is most important. Much research and experimentation required to develop functional isometric contraction. Important facts about functional isometric contraction training. Don't overwork. L03. The Russians and functional isometric contraction. 107. Functional isometric contraction success. 112. More facts about functional isometric contraction. 119. Functional isometric contraction is good for the ladies too. 122. Chapter 1. Chapter 20. Chapter 21. Chapter 22. Chapter 23. Chapter 24. Chapter 25. Chapter 26. Chapter 27. Chapter 28. Chapter 29. Chapter 30. Chapter 31. Chapter 32. Chapter 33. Chapter 34. Chapter 35. Chapter 36. Chapter 37. Chapter 38. 9 Strong, attractive, healthy women. Functional isometric contraction, Advanced Course 135. Muscle contraction with movement. The accessories of the Superpower Rack. MIC. In the most from your training with the Horseman Isometric Isotonic Superpower Rack. Rules for your success. Additional exercise which can be practiced on Horseman Isometric Isotonic Superpower Rack. Exercises which can be practiced with the bench 177. Additional exercises. Variety is the spice of life. Exercises for the injured or the handicapped. Many people have been almost doing it. Improving your performance in your favorite sport 214. Functional isometric contraction training for teams 224. Better athletic training the functional isometric contraction way. Training of individual athletes the functional ISO metric contraction way. Improving track and field performance the functional symmetric contraction way. 249. Muscle contraction with measured movement. 262. A successful coach. Is muscle contraction with measured movement the superior form of training? Chapter 1. A new method of building super strength. Iostoi 5 Seriut. Shin is a method of developing functional strength where strength is needed and desired. The functional isometric contraction system brings together all the known scientific facts of strength development and body mechanics. Functional isometric contraction S. A scientifically proven, very rapid way to develop strength and muscle. Functional isometric contraction will develop functional strength more quickly and more completely than any other method. Known to man. Fun. Functional isometric contraction must be applied against a solid, immovable object for resistance so strong that the muscle can not move. In pure functional isometric contraction, the muscle exerts a maximum contraction, but it does not move, it remains the same length, regardless of how intense is the resistance to which it is subjected. During functional isometric contraction the muscle stiffens but does not move. All the muscle energy is used in tension, and none in movement when performing functional isometric contraction exercises properly. Consequently it develops the maximum amount of muscle tension. This is one of the reasons why functional symmetric contraction is a quick method of developing strength. More muscle tension can be exerted in functional iso metric contraction than by contraction where by means of move. N. 12 Functional isometric contraction meant, the muscle is allowed to shorten. There is more cell action. More cell growth as a result of functional isometric contraction. There is growth in muscle size as well as in strength through this form of training. Gains made with the functional isometric contraction system are the result of the overload principle, overloading the muscles. It is nature's way to meet demands which are made upon the muscles and to create an increase in strength to meet these demands. A momentary shortage of oxygen causes the tiny blood vessels, the capillaries, to grow larger, and with them the muscle grows larger too, in order to meet the overload to which it is being subjected. The body develops the ability to carry more blood and more oxygen, and thus develops the ability to exert more and more force. This constant overloading of the muscles causes them to become larger and stronger, providing more fuel for the larger muscle. As training the functional isometric contraction way is continued, to obtain maximum benefit, it is necessary to exert a maximum force against this immovable object. Maximum force is applied from 9 to 12 seconds. Functional isometric contraction operates on a different principle than any other system of training. The system was discovered and developed as a result of research work concerning CCLL, tissue and muscle growth. 1 muscle contraction a day. With the usual training system, an hour or 2 of hard training a day, the muscles become very tired, often sore or strained, and much time is lost waiting for the muscles to become rested. This may take 24 to 36 hours. A muscle will not increase in size and strength after demands have been made upon it until it is thoroughly rested. With the functional isometric contraction system, although the muscles may be worked to their limit for supreme effort, they do not become tired. New growth in cells and muscle tissues takes place at once. As there is no waiting time, no lost time, you can train twice as often if you wish, 5 or 6 times a week instead of 3, and gain 2 to 4 times as fast. While visiting The president with group of AAU leaders, Bob had an opportunity, at the president's request, tell him of functional, isometric contraction. One of Bob's greatest ambitions to install 3 superpower rack in the White House. 14 Functional, isometric contraction. One of the biggest reasons for the success of the isometric contraction system of training is the fact that strength is developed where needed and desired. In basic weightlifting movements such as the press and the curl, the weight remains at the most difficult part of the lift, often called the sticking point, for a fraction of a second. The sticking point in the press is about at head level. That is the point where so many lifters fail with their maximum presses. With functional isometric contraction as we practice it, one of our exercises hold the maximum static resistance for 9 to 12 seconds at the sticking point. Thus 9 to 12 times as much strength is developed as with a single movement over the entire range. The start of the curl is Casey, the finish of the curl is Casey, the middle of the curl is where the maximum effort is required. So the functional symmetric contraction trainee holds the weight in the middle position for 9 to 12 seconds, thus building strength in the place where it is most needed, so much faster. This system of training can be applied to golf and tennis playing, to swimming, to the playing of games such as football, baseball and basketball, to events of track and field. It is estimated that there are 3 trillion cells, 4 billion muscular fibers in the body, and it is known that there are 720 muscles in the body. Most of us use only a part of these cells and these tissues. Functional symmetric contraction training teaches an athlete to use more of his muscles and to develop greater strength and better coordination in his muscles. Functional symmetric contraction training is a wonderful thing for athletes and those who desire the limit of strength and develop meant, but it is also a big step forward in the building of a stronger and healthier America, because with it we have a simple, case to follow, result-producing system which brings sensational results with a minimum of effort. There is no valid excuse in the future copyright symbol. Be out of shape, 0 be fat, to be pepless, to be tired, even to be sick. When it is 5 OKC to keep superlatively fit, strong and healthy, the functional isometric contraction way. As we have stated, functional isometric contraction is a new building super strength 15. Different, superior, and rapid method of building strength. Functional isometric contraction is a method of exercise without movement, a method of developing functional strength through static contraction of the muscles in the position in which the muscle is to be used. This system is especially applicable to many athletic sports. It is a new method which has proven to be a superior method of building functional and all-around physical strength. This new exercise principle which is now being applied to competitive sports is actually a breakthrough of the barriers of conventional training. Basically, the functional isometric system involves exercising against static resistance. This type of exercising is very simple, in fact so simple that many coaches as well as people in the exercising and bodybuilding fields can't seem to understand it, and they keep trying to make something difficult out of it. An isometric exercise is one which puts a muscle against an immovable object, rather than a moving object such as a weight or another muscle. To perform an isometric exercise, you work against an immovable object, you try to lift or move something that can not be lifted or moved. In the process, you exert the greatest possible muscular strain of which you are capable and hold that maximum strain or effort for a stated period, usually ranging from 9 to 12 seconds. Then you relax the muscle, and that is all for that muscle for that day. The most result-producing system consists of 3 basic movements, a press, a pull and a knee bend. Therefore, the absolute minimum from which you can expect favorable results consists of 3 exercises, 1 press, 1 pull and 1 knee bend. To these are often added 2 of the very best exercises, 2 exercises which mean so much to an athlete in any branch of athletics, the toe raise and the shoulder shrug. In running and jumping, power in the feet and ankles, and power in the calves, which results from toe raising exercises, will improve athletic performance. At Toa State University, the late Dr. C.F. McCloy taught the basketball team some symmetric exercises. They helped, for his team became the conference champion. The average gain 16 functional 15 ometric contraction in the basketball jump from the practice of the tuck raise exercise with moderate resistance was 34 inches. The center of the team gained a full 6 inches in his jump. Sprinters, middle and long distance runners, high and broad jumpers, hop, step, and jump men, hurdlers, and all other athletes will benefit from this movement. The shoulder shrug builds arm and shoulder strength, upper chest, and upper back strength. It is an exercise in which hundreds of pounds of resistance can be used. These 5 exercises can be practiced in 1 minute of actual exercising time. Even more result producing, instead of the single press, the one pull and the one knee bend, are the 3 twos, 2 presses, 2 pulls and 2 knee bends. These 6 exercises can be performed in 1 minute, 6 times 10 seconds. Many of the most successful exponents of this method practice the 3 twos, plus the tuck raise and the shoulder shrug. This is the exact system which Louis Reek practiced with such notable results, as we will relate later. His system of 8 exercises for 12 seconds required 96 seconds daily of actual training or limit resistance time. Any athlete, no matter how busy he is, can find time for this short program. If he feels that he cannot, then he can practice one of the more abbreviated programs we have cited, the 3 twos or the Big 5. You may be wondering how these few exercises without movement, which are so basically different than the usual training program requiring hours of physical endeavor and countless movements, can bring the superior results we are discussing. In functional isometric contraction there are 2 basic rules which make the difference, 2 rules which are responsible for the great success of this wonderful system of training. 1. In functional isometric contraction training, 1 muscle contraction a day in each position is usually enough of a workout. A muscle can only grow 5 fast, and with many trainees, a 12-second application of maximum force will make it grow as fast as it can. However, some men who have better endurance, or better recuperative power, have succeeded well with a number of metric contractions in succession. Exert maximum force for 10 to building super strength 17. 12 seconds, momentarily relax, maximum pressure again for 10. 10-12 seconds, relax, and maximum pressure again for 10 to 12 seconds. You can try both methods. The single 12-second maximum contraction may be best for you. You may do well with fewer functional isometric contraction exercises, practicing a series of isometric contractions. Maximum effort will usually stimulate it. 1. Its maximum growth. As mentioned previously, some men have obtained good results by practicing a series of maximum functional symmetric contractions. 2. The muscle grows faster when there is static resistance, resistance without movement, for with this type of effort there is more cellular action, more cell stimulation, more cell growth. When there is movement, the effort is spread to more muscles and is diffused or dispersed. John Davis of the York Barbell Club, times a world's heavyweight champion. Twice Olympic champion lifting more than 2,000 pounds isometrically. Incredible gripping strength. This out him raising 70 pounds in the pinch grip, squeezing the smooth sides. Ashinda die 1 pound plates TVLBO 70 ot. Booms in the wrestlers. I ought know that Thai wears suicides in 5 war performed Sontakali. T+. More trophies for the Weightlifting Hall of Fame. After returning from the 1961 World's Weightlifting Championship in Vienna, the contests with the Polish Femme in Warsaw and Katowice, this photo was taken in the York Barbell Club gym. Here you see Coach Bob Hoffman, USA 198-pound champion. I March Celted at Vienna as the world's BC developed athletes Tommy Kono US 151-pound champion, selected UF Vienna for the fourth time and M Universe, and Jafanitapuk, manager. Few teams have won 5 many trophies on a single. IRIP. BL and Tommy are holding the number 1 trophy, the overall first prize of Nations. The Gold Cup, on which Johnny I % leaning, is the Mosey expansive trophy. The Big Hall of Fame trademark symbol thigh object half 1 of EN to the American T. Largest CU. 20 functional symmetric contraction, or full arms extension. In the pull, one pull is from the knees. The middle pull is at belt height, and the top pull at breastbone height. In the deep knee bend, the low bend is performed at lower than parallel, the middle bend halfway between parallel and the legs straight position, and the highest bend with which advanced exponents of this system use 1,000 pounds of weight or more, is practiced a few inches below the legs straight position. We call this the 1/8th bend. Greatest strength can be exerted when the muscle is nearest extension, as in the leg press and the arm lockout. Many trainees use 500 pounds in the near lockout position. This is so different from the accepted forms of exercise in the past that there is little wonder that it is difficult for the ambitious athlete to accept the principle of the one supreme effort without movement. In the past it was common to perform hundreds of repetitions in CAC movement, or at least a number of sets, 3 times 10, 3 times 15, or even 10 times 10. One well-known course of exercises without apparatus, which at one time was very highly advertised and has been used by millions, suggests that some of the exercises be practiced 100 repetitions each, night and morning, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Time-consuming, energy-consuming, yet brings very ordinary results. No wonder it sounds fantastic to have gaining superior physical ability in 1 minute a day, with a few exercises against static resistance. I have exercised for more than half a century. I have been one of the hundreds, even thousands of movements, exercises. Even a few years ago, a favorite exercise program would be to take a pair of 20-pound dumbbells, and perform 10 exercises for 10 movements CAC. Sometimes I did 20 exercises of 10 movements each, without pausing. It took time, brought fair results. But now I am one of the greatest exponents of the 1 minute a day system, and this method of training has brought me sensational results. At first it may seem hard to believe that this new system of training will bring even better results than these endless V. Building super strength 21 ments, yet many experiments or demonstrations have proven that the single maximum static resistance movements have produced better results than the great many tiring, time-consuming, energy-sapping movements. We were the first in the world to demonstrate this superior new bodybuilding and strength building principle, functional isometric contraction, the first in the world to apply this rapid strength building principle, functional isometric contraction to real exercise, heavy or maximum resistance. The first in the world to apply this strength building principle to heavy exercise, heavy athletics, strength and muscle building. We are also the first in the world to offer this proven system of working against an immovable object, to physical fitness 100, to the acquisition of physical excellence for the average American. We were the first to promote this 1 minute a day, the functional isometric contraction way, this system of exercise without movement. We think it is the greatest single item in building a better future for America. For any nation is only as strong as the sum total of its people. With the 1 minute a day, the functional symmetric contraction way, any man or woman can be strong, magnificently built, and super healthy in minutes of easy to practice physical training daily. From now on, there is no valid excuse not to be physically fit. Since so many athletes and teams, so many Mr. and Mrs. Average Americans, have obtained such superior, even sensational results from functional isometric contraction, it seems that nearly every body is talking about and interested in this form of training. It is so new and different that few people know the real facts about it. Even few coaches, few scientists, few medical men know what it is and how it works or how to apply it. Improperly applied, it is of no more value than an ordinary system of freehand exercises. But applied as it should be, it is a miracle worker. TN as little as 1 minute a day of exercise without movement, it will build a magnificent body, great strength and super health. You cannot expect much with the old exercises which we called isometric contraction. The average devotee of functional 22 functional isoteric contraction. Isometric contraction starts moderately, takes his time, and as strength develops progressively, more resistance is causally possible, and more effort can be expended. This wonderful new method of training, the functional isometric contraction way, can do a lot for athletics in this country. It can do a lot for Mr. and Mrs. Average American. It is a system of training which can be practiced by people of all ages. It should be the answer to the need for physical fitness, for physical excellence in this country. After a lifetime spent in the search for better strength and bodybuilding methods, we are happy indeed to offer this new, faster, different, superior method of building physical excellence. The functional isometric contraction way. Directors and workers of the Bob Hoffman Foundation include famous scientists, medical doctors, chemists, physiologists, kinesiologists, psychologists, world-famous coaches and trainers, teachers, and professors of physical education. These leading scientists are working together in this work of building a stronger and healthier America, a work that is 50 essential to the future of our country. 10 The survival of our country. Chapter 2. The development of the theory and the proper application of functional isometric contraction. GOL principle has been known for a good many years, for as long ago as 1928. 7. Physical education teachers at Springfield College conducted tests in an endeavor to prove or disprove the value of what is now known as the isometric satonic principles. Their results were 50 meager, so inconsequential, so limited that the tests were discontinued. These men had in their grasp the greatest training principle the world has ever seen. Yet, through improper application, it was discarded. For 25 years almost nothing was done with the isometric isotonic principle. 1 right isometric isotonic. For both of these terms are applicable to this system of training. Although this system is called symmetric, actually, it should be called isotonic. Gould's Medical Dictionary, one of the accepted best, says *Iomeric muscular act, the preservation of the length of a muscle when stimulated, the muscle undergoing change in tension only, isotonic having uniform tension or tonicity, a muscle which contracts on stimulation, its tension remaining the same. Isoqual, tonic, tonicity or tension, equal tension. It is evident that this latter is the type of exercise we are discussing, tension without change, rather than isometric, without muscle movement, changing in tension only. I don't like to cause confusion, but often call this system of training the functional isometric isotonic. 5. 24 Funcrionat. Isometric Contion. Contraction system. The latter is the preferred method of training for devotees of this new principle, but we must be careful, and not overlook something worthy, as we did for so many years. By this I mean that muscle tension without movement of the muscle but with changing tension may turn out, be as successful in the application of this principle as the isotonic movements without changing of tension. Already, a good number of trainees, myself included, have conducted tests with the isometric, no muscle movement, but changing tension. I have tried this principle with 3 efforts and with 2 maximum contractions. This means, exert force for 10 seconds, momentarily relax, 10 seconds. Again, try to make the second effort, the superior application of force. At this time, we cannot be sure if this isometric contraction system of a series of contractions will work well for all trainees. But we know it has brought and is bringing good results for many who are trying this alternative method. Some are making 3 and 4 consecutive contractions. In 1953, Müller of Germany conducted many tests and became convinced that the isometric principle had merit. The world's weightlifting championships were held in Vienna in 1954, and while we were there, we heard of these tests and learned all we could about them. As the years passed, these isometric principles were used with considerable success in rehabilitation and the treatment of joint and muscle injuries. Müller said that strength could be increased at the rate of % a week, which would mean that strength could be doubled in 20 weeks. We tried his suggested exercises, and we came to the conclusion that they would do little good for advanced men such as the barbell and weightlifters in our organization. These exercises, in my opinion, were inconsequential, almost nonsensical. Holding the hands overhead with the fingers spread and the arms tensed. Holding the arms to the side with the fingers spread and the arms tensed, standing on the toes with the knees bent for 6 seconds. Sitting on a chair and lifting the legs like a frog kicks, sitting. Resisting the legs with tick arms to develop the sartorius, pulling. Eugene Sandow, to publicize his strongman act, and to gain recognition, toured the city of Amsterdam one Iking Ale the strength testing machines. This oldham strength feat was a 00D sample of isometric training. Starting on the road which made Milo of Croton a fam. Aus for over 2,000 years, as the strongest man in the world. A victor at the Olympic Games for 2 years. Milo was one of the first examples of progressive training. Starting with a calf, every day he walked around the stadium in Athens. As calf grew into a powerful, whelpty beast, Milo grew in strength 100, becoming the strongest man in the world of his time. Supporting the calf, and later the huge bull on his shoulders, was an isometric exercise. 2. Functional isometric contraction. In the waist, tensing the buttocks, and others of the same type. They worked well in various centers with polio and accident victims, with those suffering from muscular sclerosis, but they did not seem to fit in with our required system of heavy exercise. Build better athletes and weightlifters. The fact that they helped at all in discased and injured conditions only seemed to prove our lifelong belief that any exercise is better than no exercise. That even a little exercise will help. And then one day, like a bolt out of a clear sky, the question was asked, how would the symmetric principle work with heavy resistance for weightlifters? The question came forth at a meeting taking place in my office in the Strength and Health Center in York. John Grymick, John Tupek, and myself were taking part in the discussion. This meeting should be remembered, for at that place, and at that moment, an idea was born which was destined to revolutionize physical training. At that time it was planned to use this revolutionary isometric principle with a system of real exercise. This system which was destined to develop better athletes and better weightlifters and a stronger and healthier America. On that momentous day, the principle of isometric contraction had been known and experimented with for more than 30 years. It had gone nowhere, and if we had not decided that day to check how it would work with real exercise, it would be in the same rut, still known only a few scientists. Now it is sweeping the country, and as we have said, will play a most important part in the building of this stronger and healthier America, which is our paramount aim. Chapter 3. Proving the value of functional isometric contraction. First man to attempt the use of this new system was a York weightlifter. Bill March was 23 years of age. He had been a four-letter man at high school. Had won letters in football, basketball and track. He was a good diver, and a very good tumbler. Yet all of his athletic endeavors had brought his weight to just 135 pounds. This well illustrates the fact that Bill was not naturally a superman, that he was not endowed by nature with a super body and super physical ability. He had learned about weight training, and the first time I saw him, he was filling in at a demonstration of weight training, when I gave a talk before a group of handicapped boys and girls. He weighed 170 at that time. I told him that we needed weightlifters in this country and asked that he practice the 3 lifts, 2 hands press, 2 hands snatch, 2 hands clean and jerk, which are the basis of competition over the entire world. He took my advice, and at the time we called him into my office. He weighed 176 pounds, and had just won the Mid-Atlantic Championship with a total of 745 on the 3 lifts. We asked him if he would like to try a new training system which might make him a great weightlifter. When Bill heard the facts, he was quite willing to try the new system. Bill wanted to become a better 7.28 functional, symmetric contraction lifter. 1960 was Olympic year, and deep in his mind, although the time was short, was the thought that he might make the Olympic team. In his class and the class above, the 198-pound class, were a number of famous American lifters of international caliber. The program started to work almost immediately to produce rapid improvement in strength and muscle. Bill won the national Y.M.C.A. championship with a total of 800 pounds. Nice gaining. But 25 pounds less than the national championship qualifying total of 825. So instead of qualifying for the Olympic team, he could not even qualify for the trials. But he continued to follow the new combination training program, 4 times a week with functional isometric isotonic contraction and 1 day of weight lifting, and he was coming up fast. So fast, that the first Sunday, the Olympic team was in York, for their final training before the games, and we went down to Baltimore to give an exhibition. At the Maryland State Prison, Bill lifted well. His total included a 340-pound clean and jerk, which he jerked 4 times. He was getting strong. On the next Friday he made a real good try for the Olympic team, totaling 925, which included a 360 clean and jerk. The 345 days before had been a lifetime record, so this represented a gain of 20 pounds in the clean and jerk within 1 week. His total of 925 also represented a gain of 180 pounds. From 745 in 3 months. No man at that stage had ever gained 50 fast before, to our knowledge. All of our immediate weightlifting group, which included all the lifters in the East, were surprised at the progress Bill had made. Everyone wanted to know how he did it. But we kept his training a secret, for it was a new principle, and we did not want others, particularly the Russians, to learn about it until we were farther advanced, had performed all the necessary experiments to determine just what was the best method of applying the Isometrics atonic principles to weightlifting and athletics in general. The team went to Rome. Bill stayed home. He lost considerable interest in his training, and even that fall was not doing too well. Louis Rick, an intelligent and personable young man from on the victory stand at the World's Championship in 1961, Tommy Kono, the actor for the 4th time in the Mr. Universe contest _ Bill March, won category 1, the standing still part of the program, and thus was acclaimed as the world's biz developed athlete. Tommy won the posing part of TH program, category 2, and scored the most points. Overall, 5-0 became the Mr. Universe selection. I was thrilling experience to hear the Star-Spangled Banner played as the 2 American flags went up as our isometric men were first and second in the world. Louts Reek, who gained world fame as the first man in the world to train with and superpower rack, symmetrically without weights, is shown here completing a 00 pound press. 30 functional symmetric contraction. New Orleans had been selected as a member of the Olympic weightlifting clinic in York, so he was on, who was amazed at the rapid progress made by Bill March. He wanted to try the same program. Early in November of 1960, when the Olympics were history, we invited Louis to come to York for a conference. There were conferences that very weekend. It was decided that Louis Rick would practice this form of training, but in a somewhat different way. As is now history, Bill March had been using what had come to be known as functional isometric contraction training with weights. Training progressively with weights and the symmetric isotonic superpower rack, pushing and pulling the weights against a solid pin. It was planned that Louis would perform his exercises pulling and pushing against an immovable object. He was sworn no secrecy, such secrecy that he would not tell anyone what he was doing. I saw Dr. Drury at a convention, and he told me that Louis was training behind locked doors, and he would not let anyone see what he was doing. But Doc said that he knew he was practicing a form of isometric contraction. With each passing contest Rick performed better and people started to marvel at his physical development and strength. People started flying up to York to ask what Louis was doing and what Bill March was doing. It was not until after the National Championships quali in June of 1961 that Louis disclosed to others what he had been doing. You will note that the sudden knowledge of many so-called experts dates from that moment. Knowing nothing about functional isometric contraction with maximum resistance, suddenly they became great experts in the field. After we had been proving this system for more than a year, dabbling in it for 10 years, with the exercises of little merit which were recommended by the scientists in the field. Louis did not do quite his best in the senior national AAU championships, but he did well, good enough to give Tommy Kono, long the world's best weightlifter, a man who had won 8 world's titles, and had set 26 world's records, the battle of his life. Both lifters were tied after 2 lifts with a 600-pound EU Seals risk, of New Orleans, Lane the first man in the world to train Finance symmetric contraction way with the Atwalgi, etting new word. Record of 31,114 pounds in the 2 hands snatch. The greatest feat in the realm. O sport S to 380 Erids accord. Wyan and man wind S warriors championship. S that he is the best man in the competition that day. When he sets a where FA courts he proves that one the best performer I his foreport, and nispa. Hiculus vent, of all time, past and present. In preparation for this world record breaking success, Louis Rick trained 4 times a week with functional ISO metric contraction, once a week of form lifting, once a week of limit tiffing. EO0D example to prove that exercises without movement build the power, and ST15 make world S records with movement. Vorju offer screen at Isaurik Funcrian 31. Total, 310 press and 290 snatch for Tommy, 300 press and 300 snatch for Louis. Both lifters cleaned and jerked 365, still tied. Then Louis missed a new record of 380, Tommy made it. The exact functional isometric contraction system that Louis Rick followed is off-cred in this book, as well as the isometric contraction system with weights which was used by Bill March. A lot of study, research and experimentation went into the Great success of Bill March and Louis Reek, in addition to their own great physical effort and persistence. Weightlifting. History was made. What these young men did was truly a journey into the unknown, just as the trips of the American astronaut Shepard, and the Russian Gagarin, were trips into the unknown. They risked their weightlifting futures by testing this new training method. But fortunately it turned out well. Louis Reek, a good lifter, but not an international lifter, a man who had won the Southern Championship repeatedly with lifts such as 200 press, 220 snatch and 280 clean and jerk, total 700, finally made an official total with 303-303-367-974 total. His records of 305 snatch and 370 clean and jerk were made at another time. In our enthusiasm about the success of Louis Reek, we forgot Bill March for the moment. Bill was just plugging along, getting nowhere. In 5 consecutive contests he had totaled 880. Good lifting, but far from the 1,000 needed to amount much in the 198-pound class. He would make a first attempt success with 340 in the clean and jerk, but he could not even clean 350. I had the first isometric ultrasonic superpower rack in my home, so I invited Bill March and his training partner Dick Smith to train with me and see if we could not get him moving again. Bill was anxious to get back into functional isometric training again, for he saw the great results that Louis Reek continued to obtain. Bill had shown the way to Louis, Louis was showing the way. 10 Bill. Nearly 7 months had passed since the team left for Rome. It was March 1961 now, and Bill had just loafed along, training the conventional way. He had slipped back from the 925 he had reached in 3 months of functional isometric contraction training, to 880. Value of functional SOETRIC function 33. When our new home was built in 1956, T had the floor of one end of the lower level, made 18 inches deck per, so that I could install a power rack. Basically it was the same sort of rack we had been writing about since 1938, a rack which is partially described in the Guide to Weightlifting Competition. 8 feet in height, it is made with 4 to 214-inch steel pipes, in which holes have been drilled every 2 inches, so that pins can be thrust through them. 0 support the weight. This old rack does not have many of the refinements we now have built into the complete gymnasium we call the Hoffman Symmetrical Satonic Superpower Rack. It does not have the large holes in the front standard to practice pure functional symmetric contraction, but it has served its purpose for a long time, and one still use it, and expect to use it, until it is retired to our Hall of Fame, as was our first Olympic standard revolving barbell. Made in 1927, retired in 1959, still in fine condition. Bill trained in my LD home gym until we built the second superpower rack, which was installed in the gym, at the Strength and Health Center on Lightners Hill, north of York. It is STLL there and will be used for years to come. In addition the system we worked out for the superpower rack, the 3 threes plus the race on toes and the shoulder shrug, 2 exercises I insisted upon as I have had much cause realized their supreme value. Bill's training was to include a complete nutritional program. All of the invigorators made with orange juice, Inca gall, a germ oil concentrate, and high protein, a high protein food, made largely with soybeans he could use. A liver iron and vitamin B12 tablet played an important part too. Bill started T0 Move Fast. In 2 weeks, lifting at Chief Joe Peters' Police Department, big annual open weightlifting contest. He totaled 915, 1 week later at Morris Y. Brott's big open contest in New York City, he totaled 930, a new lifetime total for him, and it gave him the Best Lifter award, against some pretty strong competition. 1 week later, we drove to Toledo, Ohio. 34 functional T5 Isometric contraction for the national Y.M.ca championships, and Bill won this championship with a total of 950, setting 4 new YMCA records. A week later he won the Middle-Adenty Championship and surprised a lot of people by winning the physique contest and the title, Mr. Middle Atlantic, which had been won in the past by George Efferman, Jules Bacon and John Farbotnik on their way 0 Mr. America and Mr. Universe victories. Bill did this with no special training, bodybuilding exercises as we call them, just with functional isometric contraction training 4 times a week, and weightlifting once a week. Another week later, he won the Pennsylvania State Championship and also the title, Mr. Pennsylvania. He beat a lot of good men in this contest T0O, as this contest included the eastern half of Pennsylvania where the big city of Pittsburgh is located, a hotbed of weightlifting and weight training for many years. Almost on consecutive Saturdays he won the Junior National Championship, setting 4 new national records, and then he culminated his 10 weeks of functional isometric training by winning the Senior National AAU Weight Lifting Championship at Santa Monica, Cal. After the Senior National AAU Championships, Bill March and Louis Reek 100 were selected as members of an American team which was slated to compete against Soviet weightlifting teams in Moscow, Leningrad, Kyiv, and Bylysy. The Russians had a fresh team in every contest. They have an estimated 7 million weightlifters, and our fellows had these competitions in rapid succession. After leaving Russia, there was a contest in Paris, and 4 big international contests in London, which included the best lifters in Europe as well as the Russians. 5 contests against the Russians in a short period. It was a tough trip. When Bill came back from his extensive travels he was weak and far down in weight, weighing only 186 pounds. The day he had won the National YMCA Championship in Toledo, he weighed 208 pounds and had to remove nearly 10 pounds to compete in the 198% pound class. That day, when Bill totaled 950, one drove the 500 miles back to York, driving all night, wide. Vava Faskrianat Isozeritic Fux Rio 35. Awake, and the happiest I had ever been in my life. Not just because Bill had won, not just because he had developed one of the most magnificent bodies the world had ever seen, but because I saw some hope for American weightlifting. We had been slipping It takes so much time and sacrifice to be a weightlifting champion. 10. Succeed. The desire to be a weightlifting champion must be first in a man's life. He must sacrifice, train long hours, and 2. Many give up even before they reach the top. But here was a form of training which required only a few minutes training time. Most days in the week. One saw hope for American athletes, for they face the same situation when a young man gets out of school. Lack of time, hard to keep pace with the communist athletes, where they have nothing to do but train and are well paid for the training. I saw some hope for America, for here was a system 50 kc, and so quick, that no one would have a valid excuse. Not one. Oh, keep in strong, healthy, fine-looking condition. I saw that we had something, the greatest training system the world had ever seen. So it took Bill a while to recover from his ordeal. But he did recover and went to the World's Championship. He lifted in Vienna, and in Poland at Warsaw and Katowice, but most interesting was the fact that he finished second to 4 times winner Tommy Kono in the Mr. Universe contest. He did not perform a single bodybuilding exercise, yet he won Category 1. The standing still part of the program, where the competitor faces the judges, then turns sideways and then BACK, there is no muscle tensing and no muscle posing. Bill proved that he is the world's best developed athlete and has 3 trophies to show for it, as well as the happy memory of standing on the victor's stand, with functional isometric trained Tommy Kono while the Star-Spangled Banner played and the United States flag went up. In Poland, Bill not only outlifted the heavyweight at Katowice, but he also outlifted the heavyweight. Quite a record and quite an experience for a young man who was weighing 176, and totaling 745. He became famous over all the world, and added to his great collection of trophies. Most of this as 36 functional isometric contraction. The result of his 5% months of functional isometric contraction training with weights. It brought Bill March a very rich reward. It will do as much, or nearly as much, for others who train as scientifically, as persistently and as hard as Bill trained. Upon his return, Bill and I journeyed to Quebec, and there Bill won the Championship of North America, and set 4 new North American records. He entered the physique contest at my urging, and finished second. His score was 452% to 453% for the winner. Pretty good for a young man who practices the functional metric isotonic contraction system, LIT more than a minute 4 days a week, and lifts 1 day. In direct contrast, the body building stars may train 8 hours daily of constant exercising. Truly our young weightlifters, Bill March and Louis Reek, showed the way, proved the value of this great system of training. Chapter 4. A superior method of strength and muscle building. Comparatively new functional isometric contraction training system will have an important place in the life of Americans, in developing better athletes, in building stronger and healthier Americans. It will not replace all the good physical activities which have been so popular, but it will prove to be a time saver, an energy saver, a super health builder. TT will bring superior results faster, with far less effort, in a great deal less time. It will be a body saver, because it's scientific. Methods build the maximum of strength and development with a minimum strain upon the muscles, tendons and ligaments. TT will still be necessary to practice some exercises of movement. 10. Tie the strong points together which have been developed through functional isometric contraction training, to teach the muscles. 10. Coordinate. When combined with the proven training principles, the exercises of weightlifting training and other long successful training methods, it will build strong men and women, superbly developed men and women, build better athletes with a greater ability than has ever been seen before. It is a time saver because on most of the days of the week you can train as little as 1 minute a day, and receive exceptional results. Many of the men who are practicing the functional isometric contraction way are athletes who participate in a variety BL 38 functional isometric contraction of sports. They have their exercises of movement as they practice or participate in their sport. There are many people who play golf over the weekends, and after a no exercise, 5-day week, paying little attention to health rules, overworking, overindulging, working under tension, they are not in condition for a vigorous, long weekend of golf. But with functional isometric contraction training during the week, they will be super strong, super enduring, and perform so much better and enjoy themselves a great deal more. Many men like T copyright symbol go hunting in season, but they do nothing. 10. Develop their strength and their endurance. Along comes hunting season, and they go out with friends to climb the hills and mountains. Their long untrained muscles complain, but they persist, and have a fair measure of what they call fun. But they pay a price for it. The least price consists of sore and strained muscles, colds, blisters. But some men die from this overexertion. I knew a man, a close associate, a former Olympic wrestler, who thought he was still a strong man and an athlete, who had more strength than the average in spite of his years of lack of sleep, nerve strain, over-cating and over-drinking. He would climb the mountains faster than others and laugh at them. He shouldered a buck and carried it in. But he was not in shape, oh do this, and he died during hunting season from a heart attack. Cases such as I have just cited are T. He reasons that people think athletes die young. The definition of an athlete is a competitor in public games, one trained to contend in feats of physical prowess, one possessed of great physical strength. During his college years, a man may play football, may gain considerable honor for this ability, and 25 years or even 50 years later, he thinks he is still an athlete. When there is a hard task, 10. He tries to perform it. When a car is stuck he pushes it, he shovels the snow, he moves the furniture, he runs for a bus, he digs the garden. He is an athlete, he can do these things. We should say, he was an athlete a long time ago. This belief that a man is still a strong man causes a great many men to die of heart attacks each year as they shovel snow. It causes a Sakriya method 0F muscle building 59 millions of men to die of heart attacks in other manners. You will obtain excellent physical benefits from functional isometric training. It will make you strong enough, enduring enough to Do the things you want to do and the things you feel you must do. TT will make you feel more like a man, for you will not have to take a back seat and say, I would if it were not for my weak back. I would help, but the doctor told me to watch my heart. You can be strong enough to do the things you want. 0. Do the things you need to do if you train the functional isometric contraction way. It could easily save your life or that of another. You may only have to climb a rope once to save yourself from drowning. You may only have to protect yourself and save your life once from a thug or a tough who attacks you, but you only have one life, and if you save that life, once is enough. Functional symmetric contraction will build strength in your muscles, build strength in your internal organs. But you should at times utilize this strength with movement. If you do not play games, you should include with your functional symmetric train in some form of weight training, so that you practice exercises of movement at least once a week. Exercises over a complete range, such as full presses, full deep knee bends, full dead weight lifts, from the starting position to the highest position, are recommended. You can see from what we have written that we believe functional isometric contraction is a wonderful system of exercise. We repeat, the fastest way 10 builds strength and muscle, but it should be combined with exercises of movement occasionally, preferably once a week. Most of the time I use the functional symmetric contraction system for approximately a minute nearly every day. But it is my plan, have a nice comfortable training period for about an hour once a week. During this hour, I work continuously, move from exercise 10 exercise, doing some good exercises. I enjoy this training day, for on this day I do a lot of exercises one have been missing: press on bench, full curls, pull overs, abdominal raises, pulley exercises. Use the attachment on my superpower rack, hand, wrist. The author performing a favorite exercise, the exercise which has become known over all the world as the Hoffman frog kick. This is the exercise which Bob Hoffman rose to president about from all over the world, urging him to practice 710 cure his ailing back. A Sir area method 0F muscle building 41. And forearm exercises, also with the parallel bar type of attachment on the rack for a host of exercises. But sad to relate, traveling and circumstances beyond my control may mean that instead of once a week, for a good 1 hour by the clock workout, a full month or 2 full months may go by, during which I continue with my pure functional isometric contraction. I am in magnificent condition in spite of it, but I still believe that ATR should practice exercises with movement, at least once a week, sitha with the practice of his sport, or with a good workout training with weights and exercises of complete movement. There are many notable athletes who practice for their sport of shot putting, discus throwing, weightlifting, as little as 1 day a week. The remainder of their training is the F.I.C. functional isometric contraction way. This superior method of strength and muscle building, the FLC system, as we offer it, is the greatest training system the world has ever seen. I am amazed at the rapid and superior results it engenders, the miracles it has already created, at the speed with which it develops great strength, improved functional and all-around physical ability. Muscles with all their health giving and body-maintaining qualities, with their potential athletic ability grow rapidly, almost like a mushroom grows when conditions are favorable. Had you seen the miracles I have seen as the result of this remarkable system of training, you would be as thrilled, as excited, as happy as I am. Take it easy at first. When trainees have a complete outfit, such as the isometric isotonic superpower rack, we suggest that they make their start in functional isometric training by practicing muscle contraction with limited movement first. This consists of performing repetitions, usually 6, over one of the limited ranges of movement. In the starting press from chest to eye level, in the middle press from eye level to 4 inches above the head, in the top press from 4 inches above the head to arm's length. In the pull, from knee 42 functional symmetric contraction. Level 10 the lower abdomen, from this position to the top of belt. Raised on toes in the middle pull, from this position to the breast bone or the top pull position. At the completion of these 6 movements, hold the weight for a period of approximately 6 seconds. You should make haste slowly, training progressively, until the muscles, tendons and ligaments become accustomed to the movement. Without a system which permits movement, with a doorway, bar, a board and chains, any form of a rack where you work against an immovable object, you cannot do this. You find it difficult, train progressively. In this case, all you can do is to take it easy. Do not exert yourself the maximum until you have reigned for a time, and have strengthened all your body parts. Exerting T0 hard at first may be no more serious than resulting sore muscles. A young lifter training in our gym had been a national champion weightlifter, had been a member of the Olympic team. And then he had finished his course in college, in preparation for a teaching course and had done little or no training during this time. He came back, York to teach school, and was soon introduced this extraordinary functional isometric contraction system. You would be surprised at how many sore muscles it made for him. For he used his very considerable strength to maximum. T00 soon. I saw him press out 500 pounds in the top press a few days ago, and he weighs only 150. Other men who have been athletes got ambitious at first, with resulting sore muscles or pulled muscles. So let me tell you again, take it easy. Put forth a wholehearted effort until you are sure that your muscles are ready and able for a maximum of effort. There is a lot of discussion about how many seconds of maximum contraction should be practiced. Some think that 6 is enough. We will admit that 6 seconds of maximum contraction will build muscle, but few can exert maximum pressure 6 seconds when that is the complete duration of their exercise. Some can do better than others, for they start out with a shout, or growl, almost like we made when we practiced thrusting bayonets into dummies. A Sir Area method of muscle building 43. During our training for the Great War, if you have this functional ability to ram into your effort, you can accomplish a lot in 6 seconds. But few have this maximum ability, this functional ability. The primary object of functional symmetric training is to build this explosive energy, this explosive strength, so regardless of how many seconds you practice, ram into your exercises with a supreme effort, with a maximum force. 1. I'm a great believer in the medium, light and heavy system of training, not working to your limit always. Some men cannot stand a constant maximum effort, and some men have the ability to outdo themselves when desired or when necessary. I am this sort of an individual. Won lots of races and then collapsed at the finish. I could push myself to the very limit of my physical ability. I won many weightlifting contests, because in the clean and jerk, I could lift 40 pounds more in competition than I could in practice. When I rode as a member of an site or crew years ago, we rode 7 days a week, twice on Sunday, and nearly always we had races against other crews. This was not good for me, for I could and did extend myself to the limit, row my heart out. And even a man with exceptional endurance like myself, they called me the Iron Man because I entered and competed in 13 races in one day, placing not worse than third in any of them. Would not thrive on such a system. Chapter 5. 1 minute a day. The functional isometric contraction way. We knew, different and soup. A training method, you can get fit and keep fit easily and quickly. In as little as 1 minute of actual training time a day, or with a little more time, and more effort, you can become one of the strongest men, one of the best developed men or best athletes in the new course, 1 minute a day, the functional isometric contraction way. We are introducing you to a wonderful new system of training, a way to keep supremely strong and healthy, a way 10 look better and to feel better, to feel younger, to actually be younger. It is an Casey, result-producing method of training, which has been known only a few scientists who have used it primarily for rehabilitation work, and 10 few coaches who have taught some of the nation's weightlifters and other athletics how be better athletes and better weightlifters, the functional isometric contraction way. It offers an Casey, result-producing method of training which is simple, fast, requires little time and energy, yet will bring satisfactory, even sensational results. And these sensational results have been gained with single, maximum force, static muscle contractions, a system of strength-building exercise without movement. Oxymix UTE a day 45. 1 minute a day, the functional isometric contraction way, the functional symmetric contraction system for body builders and weightlifters, a 25,000-word scientific course, which includes, in addition to the functional isometric contraction system with weights, the muscle contraction with limited movement system and the muscle contraction with unlimited movement system, outlines the way the Hoffman isometric isotonic superpower rack can be used as 16 machines in one. It is by far the most complete treatise on this new, fascinating, result-producing system of strength and bodybuilding. The functional isometric contraction system of training for football, the functional isometric contraction system of training for basketball, the functional symmetric contraction system of training for track and field and similar. Our courses are being promoted by the Bob Hoffman Foundation. This foundation is doing everything possible to build a stronger and healthier America, to build better athletes and better weightlifters, so that America can continue 10. Be the strongest country in the world, the greatest country in the world. Directors and workers in this foundation include the greatest scientists, medical doctors, chemists, physiologists, kinesiologists, psychologists, world-famous coaches and trainers, teachers and professors of physical education. These leading scientists are working together to do this important work of building a stronger and healthier America, a work that is so essential to the future of our country, to the survival of our country. An article which was written at Louisiana State University, where they are further advanced in the use of this superior training principle than in any other university, had this zero say. Functional symmetric contraction is a method of developing functional strength through static resistance of the muscles, in the position in which the muscle is zero. Be used, developing force where force is needed and desired. This system is especially applicable to many athletic sports, notably weightlifting and weight throwing. It is a new method that has proven to be a superior method of building functional and all-around physical strength. 46. Functional symmetric contraction. The functional symmetric contraction method is the result of research and demonstrations in a number of centers throughout the nation. Dr. Francis Drury, a physiologist and professor of PhYS education at Louisiana State University, for years has done his work with the exceptional facilities of this great university. Bob Hoffman, for 30 years the publisher and editor of Strength and Health, the physical fitness magazine, the Olympic coach in weightlifting, since 1932, maintains a number of strength and health training centers in York, PA, most often called Muscle Town, the strength and health center of the world. It is here that the Bob Hoffman Foundation has its home. The facilities include the extensive Strength and Health Center on Ridge Avenue, with its Hall of Fame, its big gymnasium, its auditorium, clinic and study rooms, the Hoffman Research Laboratory, and the big Strength and Health Center on Lightner's Hill, with its indoor and outdoor training and research facilities, and additional rehabilitation centers near his home outside of York. Method scientifically proved. The functional isometric contraction system of training brings together all the known facts of strength building and body mechanics, into the most up-to-date and most result-producing concept of strength and development. Functional symmetric contraction will develop functional strength more quickly and completely than any other method known to man. The theory and application of functional isometric contraction is a definite, proven, rapid, scientific method of producing super strength and development. The theory and application of functional isometric contraction is the result of the combined efforts of the scientists and teachers of the Bob Hoffman Foundation, who were brought together by their mutual interest in the process of developing strength and super health, in building a stronger and healthier America, in building better athletes. The scientists and teachers of the Bob Hoffman Foundation are the leaders in this field. These 1 minute a day 47 men have the greatest knowledge, the greatest experience, the longest experience. They are the pioneers in this great system of training. you will be wise to follow the proven instruction of these famous men, the scientists, led by Bob Hoffman, who are members, directors and officers of the Bob Hoffman Foundation. The Bob Hoffman Foundation has been assisted in its work by a number of men who proved with their own bodies the superiority of these training principles. Notably, Bill March, a weightlifter, a member of the York Barbell Club, was the first to apply the principles of isometric contraction with heavy weight resistance. Louis Reek, of New Orleans, was the first to practice the pure isometric contraction system, without movement. Both of these young men have become world famous throughout the extraordinary success they have had. There are many other athletes who demonstrated the superiority of this system of training, but we are sorry to say, they are too numerous to mention in a small course such as this. Reok. Man. Hidden is all. Francis Drury. Chapter 6. What is functional isometric contraction? Elsewhere. One would have believed that in just 1 minute a day, actual training time, a man could build a powerful, athletic, superbly developed, super healthy body. Many men have already gained their physical desires with this amazing new system of training, functional isometric contraction, with which on most days, you perform 5 to 6 exercises against static resistance, exercise without movement, for approximately 1 minute a day. Although the principles of functional isometric contraction have been known in certain academic and medical centers for 10 years, they were used primarily for rehabilitation work. No one had ever thought of applying the isometric principle to muscle building, the building of great strength and the training of competing athletes, to create improvement in their sport, until early in 1960. Olympic coach Bob Hoffman started Bill March off on a training program of isometric contraction with weights, which was to cause quite a stir in athletic circles owing its great success. Later in the year, we arranged a program for Louis Rick, consisting of functional isometric contraction training with static resistance. This course included limit training, maximum effort, against an immovable object. It included the 3 threes, 3 presses, 3 pulls, 3 knee bends, with variations of fewer move. Whitis fu orionate. Ulsamimic coNTICTION 49. Meant at times, 2 presses, 2 pulls, 2 KNCE bends, raise on toes and the shoulder shrug, or still fewer, 1 press, 1 pull, 1 knee bend, the raise on toes and the shoulder shrug. This is the basis of all the training that is being done with this remarkable system of exercise without movement, functional isometric contraction. We were the first to apply the principle of functional isometric contraction to heavy or maximum training. Prior to the advent of this sensational system, others who were using the isometric principle were employing simple exercises which in most cases consisted of tensing the muscles or of resisting one against another. The Bob Hoffman system of functional isometric contraction is an entirely new concept of this long-known principle, this training principle which in the past brought such meager results, an entirely new system, different than all others, a system which makes it possible to build a magnificent physique, great strength and super health in as little as 1 minute a day. This unique training system, which has already aided its followers, win championships and break US and world's records when maximum effort is expended in training, will also make it easy for the average man or woman, boy or girl, the old folks 0 to gain their physical desires. This is the subject of this particular course. 0 help Mr. and Mrs. Average American to quickly and casually improve greatly in a physical WA. This system will enable the typical out-of-shape adult to get back into good physical condition. Very likely better shape than he has experienced in his entire life. This form of physical fitness means mental fitness 0. It means a more attractive body, it means more endurance, more energy, better health, and the expectancy of a longer and fuller life. All of this, as you will see as you study this superior course, 1 minular day, the functional isometric contraction way, can be casually and quickly obtained at odd moments, exercising when it is convenient. 3105 times a week, without becoming fatigued in the process. In fact, you will find that the exercises tend to have a stimulating effect, due to the increased blood circulation and the additional oxygen that is transported through the body. 50 Functional symmetric contraction. In functional isometric contraction, the trainee exerts force against an immovable object. When the weight resistance is so great that it cannot be moved even with maximum force, that is functional symmetric contraction. Neither the object or the muscle moves, yet the muscle contracts powerfully to the limit of its ability. To obtain a maximum of benefit, it is necessary to exert a maximum force against this immovable object. This maximum force is exerted for 9 to 12 seconds. Functional isometric contraction operates on a different principle than any other system of training. This system was developed with the newest discoveries concerning cell growth, tissue and muscle building. The functional isometric contraction system is founded on the proven but little known principle that a muscle can grow only so fast, regardless of how many exercises you practice, or how many repetitions you perform in CAC exercise. To obtain best results, it is best to subject the muscle or muscle group to a single, maximum contraction, for from 9 to 12 seconds, and all-around strength will more quickly be attained. Only maximum contractions, only the application of considerable force, will develop the strongest muscles. With the functional isometric contraction system, where the limit of force is applied, usually a single contraction is made in each exercise. This new training method is scientific and somewhat technical. The reasons for the superior gains which are made with this single maximum effort against static resistance are scientific and somewhat technical. Functional isometric training is a time saver, muscle and joint saver, for on most days, as little as onc minute a day is spent in actual exercise, 6 times 10 seconds with the 2 pulls, the 2 presses, the 2 knee bends, or 5 times 12. With 1 press, 1 pull, 1 knee bend, plus the raise on toes and the shoulder shrug. There should be at least 1 day a week when a more complete workout takes place, preferably with weights. It is functional 1 symmetric contraction 51. working over the entire range of movement to tie together or coordinate either strong points which have been developed the functional isometric contraction way. We must remember that Bill March and Louis Reek practiced 5 to 8 exercises a day, for 12 seconds, from 1 minute to 96 seconds of actual functional isometric contraction a day. Once a week, they either engaged in competition or tested their muscles with limit poundages in the gymnasium. Gains made with the functional isometric contraction system are the result of the overload principle, overloading the muscles. It is nature's way to meet demands which are made upon the muscles, and to create an increase in strength to meet these demands. A muscle must be overloaded to cause it to increase in strength and size, and the overload factor is achieved to a greater degree in functional isometric training than in any other way. Research has proven that there is more cellular action, which also means cell growth, when there is the application of force without movement than when there is movement. In this latter case, the force is dissipated through a number of muscles and muscle groups instead of being concentrated as it is in functional isometric contraction training. All of the muscle energy is used in tension and none in movement. When performing functional isometric contraction exercises, consequently, it develops the maximum of muscle tension. This is one of the chief reasons why functional isometric contraction is a quick method of developing strength. More muscle tension can be exerted by functional isometric contraction. With functional isometric contraction there is an increase in capillary action up 10–40%, and a greater stimulation of all the muscle fibers than can be accomplished with any other system of exercise. This stimulation results in larger cells, larger muscles, and as larger muscles are heavier muscles, and usually stronger muscles, there is an overall physical gain. Controlled experiments in a number of universities and research centers have provided definite evidence that an average person can make a gain of 5% a week in strength, and in 52 functional symmetric contraction. A 20-week period will double in strength. People already highly developed cannot double their strength in 20 weeks, but any man can make good gains in a few weeks with the functional isometric contraction system if he trains with regularity and according to directions. 1 repetition in each exercise. One of the hardest theories of functional isometric contraction for most trainers to accept is the principle that 1 contraction per day in each position is enough of a workout. Most trainers, after they practice the functional isometric contraction system for a few weeks and begin to feel their new power, become anxious for more power and increase their workouts. The only way to increase the workouts should be to develop the ability to put forth more effort in each contractional position. Progress is measured in direct proportion to the liftier's ability to put forth a supreme effort in each position of each exercise. Many trainees who increase the number of exercises practiced may find that they are not gaining as they should or as they expected. This is the time 0. Reduce the number of positions in the program. Don't decrease the supreme effort in the exercises practiced. 1. If you are doing more, reduce the movements 06, W0 presses, 2 pulls and 2 knee bends. If you still do not gain as you wish, reduce to 5, 1 press, 1 pull, 1 kNce bend, toe raise and shoulder shrug. The minimum program from which you can expect any favorable results should be 3, 1 press, on pull and 1 knee bend. So don't get too anxious. Don't overwork. Follow the system of training offered in 1 minute a day, the functional isometric contraction way. Many trainees get so anxious for more gains that they work too hard. This can casually be done with functional isometric contraction. For you do not feel fatigue. You feel that you can go on and on, doing exercise after exercise. You feel that you haven't done enough, that you could train again a few hours later. But you must. What is functional, isometric contraction 53? Be careful. You can easily do too much so that you do not make the desired gains. A man must be his own trainer, for only he knows how he feels. How much exercise is favorable for him. If you feel like a million when you get up the next morning, you are on the right track. If you feel tired and out of pep, you are either doing too much, or you are not living right. There are 2 good reasons why some succeed and others fail. Some train too little, too seldom, or do not put forth enough force in their contractional efforts. Some train zero much, perhaps their bodies do not have sufficient recuperative power. They extend themselves to their limit too often, work on their nerve 100 often. And of course there are those who have poor living habits, such as insufficient or irregular sleep, and the failure to maintain a tranquil mind. So many people do not supply their bodies with the proper food. You cannot build your body without proper building matter. Eels. There must be plenty of good protein to build the body. The body is built only when there is enough complete protein of high biological value, to supply the body's needs for maintenance and repair, and then enough to build the muscles. There must be enough food for energy. Protein will be used first for energy if there is not enough of energy-producing materials. Some people smoke 100 much, drink too much of alcoholic beverages, some drink 100 much of tea, coffee and soft drinks which are loaded with white sugar. They eat too much of foodless foods, such as white sugar and white flour products. Good, natural foods are best for building strength and muscles. Functional isometric contraction, wonderful as it is, cannot overcome these poor living habits. It will help you in spite of bad habits, but you will succeed much steer and succeed better if you follow the rules of healthful living as closely as possible. This system of training will be of great value to the average family. The training rack can be used by the children, by father and mother, by the old folks, by neighbors and friends. It is excellent for people of all types. It is a big step forward in the building. 54 Functional isometric contraction of a stronger and healthier ICA, because here we have a simple, easy to follow, result-producing system, which brings sensational results with a minimum of effort. There is no valid excuse in the future, oh be out of shape, 1 oh be fat, 2 be pepless, 0 be sick, when it is 50 kc to keep superlatively fit, strong and healthy. Functional isometric contraction should be practiced by every member of The family. The biggest arm in the world. Steve Stanko in a foul weeks of Hoffman. Isotonic. Superpower rack training, gained 10 pounds in weight. Body weight had remained static for and number of years. Looks like and 00D share of the 10 pounds is in his arms. The smaller photo shows the statue of Steve which is in the Weightlifting Hall of Fame. Steve was the world champion heavyweight for the world record holder, a member of the Olympic team. After injuring his legs, he became Mr. America in 1944, and the Erstem Universe in 1847. Unlimited proof that weld raining and weld, I-winning builds real strength, athletic ability and magnificent bodies. Chapter 7. A unique and result-producing system of training without a superpower rack. Ideal, in fact it would be wonderful, if we could suggest a few simple exercises. Would build great strength and super health for you without apparatus. Some advertisers are trying to do this. They offer you a dozen exercises which are be performed in 6 seconds each. 72 seconds in all, and they promise great things. They tell you that you can exert 3/5 ths of your present strength in these free hand exercises and double your strength in 20 weeks. I sent not true. On a plane, going to a weightlifting championship in Phoenix, Arizona, I read a newspaper in which it was stated that you could double your strength in 20 days by doing 3 simple exercises. One of these was to spread your fingers and tense your arms. Another was 10 hold your arms at full length in front of the body. Press your hands together, STLL. Another was to draw in your waist as far as possible. We believe that any exercise is better than no exercise, but you get out of exercise what you put into it. Put in a little, and you benefit little. The exercises we have been discussing, the 3T read about in the paper, would not double your strength in 20 years. Our fellows, such as Bill March, who received such wonderful results in isometric contraction training with weights, handle real weight resistance in their exercises. Bill handles 400 pounds in the starting press, 300 pounds in the middle press, 500 in the lock. 55. 56. Function also metric contraction. Out press at full arm's length overhead. He lifts 1,000 pounds. Sometimes more, in the 1/8 knee bend, 400 pounds in the starting knee bend, 400 pounds in the middle bend, and he pulls 600 pounds in the starting deadweight position just above knees. Louis Reek trained with pure functional isometric contraction, working against an immovable object, so he could not exactly measure the force he was applying, but he developed the ability to exert a maximum pressure, as proven by the fact that on a tryout day he did a deep knee bend with 480 pounds, a dead weight lift. With 480 pounds, press from the top of head to arms extended with 425 pounds, and his official weightlifting records are 303 press, 305 snatch, and 370 clean and jerk, these lifts made as he competed in the 181% pound class. Human muscles are capable of exerting great force, and to develop them you must have a means of applying great force against an immovable object. You cannot do it by resisting one hand against another, or by pushing your legs in various positions with your arms, or merely lifting your legs, or pulling in your waist, or raising on toes, or extending your fingers. To get fit and stay fit, you need something substantial to work against, a solid, immovable object. Later we will tell you of the apparatus you can make or can obtain from other sources, which will make possible the casier, more result-producing effects of your functional symmetric contraction exercises. But right now we are discussing the possibility of building strength and muscle, better health and better physical condition if you are so situated that you do not have apparatus. If you are at home, you will find various stationary articles around the house and yard you can use. Many fellows who train the functional isometric contraction way go around with a gleam in their eye, looking for objects to pull against and to push against. Around your home and in hotel rooms, you will find some things to push against and pull against. I most often use a doorway, for there is a doorway in every room. I am tall enough that I can train in without a superpower rack 57. Perform a good variety of exercises without movement, in just about any doorway. If you are short, your problem is greater. Following are exercises I do in a doorway. Some doorways are higher than others, some are broader than others, but I believe that the majority of people can perform some result-producing exercises in a doorway. 1. Stand in the doorway, tense or lock your knees and hips, and press hard isometrically for the desired number of seconds against the top of the doorway. If the door is low, a lower press position can be practiced. If the door is high, stand on a box or bench. 2. Leg press with straight arms against top of door. As I can hold 400 pounds overhead at this stage of my career, I can get a 400-pound leg press in this position. 3. Toe raise. This is not pure isometric, as T have to push against bent arms and with slightly bent knees, but T can assure you that it is a worthy exercise. 4. Get some sort of a small cushion or towel, and press your head back against the door jamb. This will develop the back of your neck. 5. With the same sort of pad against your forehead, press it against the door jamb. This will develop the front of your neck. As the neck is the most conspicuous part of the body, when clothed, your appearance will be greatly improved when you have a well-developed, column-like neck, which will result from these exercises. 6. To develop the pushing muscles of the arm and shoulder, put palms together, rest one elbow against the door jamb, press against it as hard as you can with the opposite arm. This is better than merely pressing one hand and one arm against the other because it is pure functional isometric contraction. 7. This develops the pulling muscles of the arms. Pull back so that force is exerted, with the elbow against the door frame. Use the other arm in turn. You can vary the position by pulling low, pulling near shoulder height, and pulling in a high position, or push both arms against the door simultaneously. Bill March illustrating the exercises which can be practiced in any doorway, the functional isometric contraction way with favorable results. Exercise number 1. Press in doorway. Use low box or stool if necessary. Press. Arms straight, legs bent. Leg press with maximum 4. Exercise number 3. Toe raise. Raise on toes are ms slightly bent. Hold position for 12 seconds. Exercise number 4. Neck exercise, pressing header. Exercise number 5. Neck exercise. Forefront of neck, pressing against doorway. Exercise number 2. L. Inst door jam. Exercise number 6. Arm exercise. Push against door jam with opposite arm. Exercise number 7. Arm exercise. Push arm against doorway. Exercise number 8. Side press. Performed with 102 hands. Exercise no. Same as 8, performed with one arm. Exercise number 3. Lateral raise. A good shoulder developing. Exercise number 10. Pull down. Develops latissimus dorsi muscles. Exercise number 11. Leg press. Pushing against door jam. Chapter 8. Simple training devices. You can use. Important thing is to practice your exercises when you can and where you can. I have a complete little gym at my home, which includes the first Hoffman symmetric isotonic super power rack we made. When I am home, training is easy. Most of the time I practice the 1 minute a day functional isometric contraction way. But I am away from home much more than I am home. Recently I was home just 3 days in 9 weeks. On all the trips I made, and I traveled around the entire world this last year: China, Japan, South America, Russia twice, Europe 3 times this year, was on every continent. I carried with me a doorway bar and used it wherever I was. TT will pay you 00 to follow the rules of healthful living, and the most important rule is regular exercise. With this new system of training, keeping strong will not take much of your time. Strength and health are the most important things in the world, and you should do all you can to acquire and retain them. When you possess them, anything and everything in life is possible. When you don't have them, life is short, infilled and unhappy. Plan now to continue getting the most from life by including regular exercise in your program. We have made it easy for you by discovering, developing and arranging a system of training which is the easiest and quickest, the most result-producing system which has ever been offered to the general public. At 60 Fux Rio Li Sunic Contraction. 8. If the doorway is wide enough, or you are small enough, you can place one hand on each side of the door frame and perform a side press. If you are large in size, you can place your body against one side and press with the other arm. Use both arms in turn in this exercise. 9. Lateral raise against the door frame. You can use both hands at once if the doorway is wide enough, otherwise use one hand and then the other. 10. Placing hands on top of the door frame and keeping arms straight, pull down as hard as you can. 11. Leg press against the door frame. Sit one side as you leg press against the other. G with back against L. 12. 1. If you are tall enough, or if you have a doorway which is narrow enough, you can place your back against one side of the door frame and press hard against the other side, as an illustration of the fact that you can develop a good measure of strength with these exercises of pulling and pushing against solid objects you can find around any home. I cite the case of Stanley Sheeface, one of the nation's best weightlifters. one night recently. In a weightlifting contest he made his best lifetime weightlifting total, which included a 275-pound snatch and a 365 clean and jerk. Stanley was weighing about 230. His lifting was good, but how he accomplished this improved total was a bit unusual. We were assured by his coach that he had not been training at the club for some months, that he had performed his exercise at home, pushing on the top of the doorway, thus building his pressing muscles, knee, bending the arms straight against the top of the doorway, building his leg muscles, pulling against the bathtub, strengthening his back muscles. 62 Functional Isometric Contraction. Doorway bars are inexpensive. A good doorway bar can be purchased for a few dollars. With this course you will have invested less than $10 in your course and your training equipment. A doorway bar will not permit the heavy resistance you will get with a super power rack, but it will help you build a fair degree of strength. A doorway bar holds 250 pounds or more, safely and securely, so this means that you can get at least 250 pounds resistance to a press, a pull, a knee bend or any other exercise. The regular exercises which we will offer later in this course, which are used with the various power racks, can be practiced with the doorway bar. You can chin the full rang, a good exercise, or you can hold the various positions, low position, middle position and high position, for 9 to 12 seconds. A doorway bar weighs only 2 pounds and folds up so that you can carry it with you in your suitcase. If you wish, which is Bill March performing the shoulder shrug with doorway bar press, chin level. These photos show Bill's isometric contraction PED muscles to good advantage. Supla training devices 63. The next least expensive device to practice your exercise is the 1 minute a day. The functional isometric way is a board with chains. To make this equipment, you will need a board 30 inches long, 1 foot wide and approximately 2 inches thick. You need 2 welded chains 7 feet long. They must be fastened to the board with bolts which extend through the board. You need a bar with hooks on each end to fit and hold the chain at the desired position. Stand on the board and you are ready for exercise. You can make your own outfit or you can purchase this sort of a waning device. It has the advantage that it does not need to be permanently fastened down. You can perform all of the exercises which will appear later in this book. For 30 years we have been telling people how to build a power rack. In the Guide to Weightlifting Competition, which was written first of all in 1938, we suggested that the ambitious lifter obtain either 4 2x45 or 4 2-inch pipes, in which he should drill holes every 2 inches to practice lifting in the various positions. During all of these years I have seen a lot of racks, some almost Rube Goldberg-like in their construction. We have made all sorts of racks, have a number of them in the Big York Barbell Club gym. The finest rack of all is, of course, the Hoffman Isometric Isotonic Super Power Rack. But it is not easy to make. It is made of steel and 552 holes are drilled in it. TT is a work of considerable magnitude to build such a rack. It takes considerable mechanical skill, and even engineering skill. But it is made for a purpose, to do its work well. It is 16 training devices in one, and permits pure functional symmetric contraction training, functional isometric contraction with weights, muscle contraction with limited movement, and muscle contraction with unlimited movement. For the man who wants the limit in strength, health, and development, it is a must. But, for the man who wants to obtain the best results he can in the shortest time, with the least cost, a simple isometric power rack will do. The easiest rack you can build requires two 2x8 boards at least 8 feet long. If possible, they should extend from floor to ceiling, for 64 functional TSOMETRIC contraction. Lifting as you will be doing with maximum force, it is hard to fasten the rack down well enough. One resist up to 1,000 pounds if you don't attach it to ceiling and floor. You should bolt these two boards together and then drill a series of 1-1/8 inch holes. They should be left of center, another row of holes should be right of center, and the holes should be staggered so that you an adjustment till have very 2 inches. The hole S should be numbered so that you can always come back to the proper adjustment for 1 minute AD. Size, this is all you need. Nothing could be simpler than a rack made of these 2X and S. If you anchor them properly, top and bottom, the rack will serve very well. You see. Functional isometric contraction exa. See more about the construction of these racks by closely examining the illustrations in this book and in the super training course, Functional Symmetric Contraction Training with Weights for Weightlifters and Bodybuilders. March, exercising with an easy-to-construct FC rack made with 2x8 boards. SIP-LE Training Devices 65. Louis Reek's Complete Training System. With functional isometric contraction. We are offering with this course the exact training system which made it possible for Louis Reek to progress from a good lifter to one of the world's best. He was the first man in the world zero practice limit pressure in the functional isometric movements against a power rack. He showed the way. He was 34 years of age when he began this form of training. He had been Southern champion many times, but his lifting totals were mediocre, far below international standards. But since using functional isometric contraction he has progressed to the point where his official records as this is Rishan Arc 303 press, 305 snatch, 370 clean and jerk, total 978. The snatch is the highest ever made by a man of. You will notice that he practiced CED 8 exercises for 12 seconds each, which means that he actually applied pressure for 96 seconds. Weight in America. Reek demonstrating functional _iometric con. Iration training week weight. 375 pounds height. ITH.1 op. Pin. 66 functional 150 metric contraction. Not much more than a minute. Lately he has been practicing just 5 exercises, 1 press, 1 pull, 1 knee bend, 1 raise on toes, 1 shoulder shrug, just 1 minute of training. As there are 3 presses, one at chin level, another at top of head, another at 3 inches below lockout, you should alternate and Be sure that all are included in your program, for all are good exercises. There are 3 pulls, one at knee level, one at waist level and one at breastbone level, 3 bends, one at the lowest possible position, below parallel, one halfway from parallel to the straight leg position, one a few inches below the leg straight position. You should alternate these movements at times. Be sure 0 include your pull-up or frog kick and the hanging exercise to complete your program. All the exercises are important. We are including a fine collection of additional exercises which can be practiced the functional isometric contraction way. Nearly all of these exercises can be practiced in 3 or 4 positions. You will have at least 100 good, result-producing exercises. To practice the 1 minute a day, functional isometric contraction way. The 2 or 3 presses, the 2 or 3 pulls, the 2 or 3 knee bends, plus the result-producing raise on toes and the shoulder shrug provide an excellent training system. They teach the muscles to work in the way that strength is most often applied, knee bending, back lifting, lifting overhead. They will make a man strong, are of great benefit to a working man and 0 any sort of an athlete. They should be practiced in addition to the specialized exercises, which create improvement in athletic performance. If your aim is just to be well built and super healthy, although you can gain that end by practicing the 3 threes, the 2 threes, or even the 1 3 when time is short, you will find it interesting and result producing to practice some of the exercises we are about 10 offer. Chapter 9. The Training Course. Louis Reek practiced a few calisthenics to warm up the back, shoulders and legs, exercises such as are found in the Bob Hoffman Daily Dozen, toe touches, side twists, touching toes. Alternately with sither hand twists, deck knee bends, the cat stretch. The following exercises were practiced with absolutely no deviation and no added movements of any kind, during the latter 9/10 of the program, except the once-a-week testing of his improvement in strength, by lifting weights either on a limit day of training or in actual competition. Exercise number 1. See illustration. Press lockout. Set the bar at a height about 3 inches below the lockout position, arms fully extended of reared. Grasping the bar with hands about shoulder width apart, look straight ahead, tighten leg, hip and back muscles, and push on bar as hard as possible from 6 to 12 seconds. Exercise number 2. See illustration. Press start. Set the pins about chin height. Use same grip as in exercise number 1. Again tighten legs, hips and back muscles, look straight ahead and push on bar as hard as possible for 12 seconds. At X3-5. Saw. #6 shoulder shuffle. Louis Reek, of New Orleans, L., demonstrating his Big 8. Functional Isom. Contraction training course without weights which brought him 1-0 world fame. Igasioin 47 dude weight UTXs #8 Guana Saver. 70 functional isometric contraction. Exercise number 3. See illustration. RISC on tarks. Set the bar at a height where it will rest just touching or a little above your neck and shoulders, when you are standing in front of it in an erect position. Keep the knees and hips locked tight, the back straight, and the head slightly turned back. Hold hands on bar at a comfortable position. Rise on the toes and push on the bar as hard as possible. For 6 to 12 seconds. Exercise number 4. See illustration. Pull. Set the bar at a height where it will be 6 or 7 inches below the waist. Use same grip as in no. And 2. Rise on toes slightly, look up slightly, bend the arms and pull as hard as you can for 6 to 12 seconds. Exercise number 5. See illustration. Parallel squat. Set the bar at a height where it will rest on the back of the neck and shoulders when you are in a squat position with the thighs parallel over the floor. Place the hands on the bar in a comfortable position and rise, pushing with the legs as hard as possible for 6 to 12 seconds. Exercise number 6. See illustration. Shoulder shrug. Set the bar at a height where it will be in your hands when your arms are fully extended downward. Grip the bar with hands about shoulder width apart. Shrug the shoulders upward as hard as possible for 6 to 12 seconds. Keep the arms and legs fully extended at all times. Exercise number 7. See illustration. Dead weight lift. Set the bar at a height where it will be about 2 inches below the knees, when you are holding it with hands about shoulder width apart. Keep the head up, the hips down and the back flat. Push hard on the legs. And pull up as hard as you can for 6 to 12 seconds. Exercise number 8. See illustration. Quarter squat. Set the bar at a height about 4 inches below the height it would be if you were standing erect, with the bar across the back of the neck and shoulders. Grip the bar with the hands in a comfortable position, and push up with the thighs as hard as possible for 6 to 12 seconds. Keep the head up, the back flat, and the heels on the ground. After this exercise it's advisable to set the bar in the highest position and hang by your hands and pull the knees up to the chest. From 10 to 20 repetitions. This will keep the abdominal muscles firm and in good shape, stretch and align the back. Tramming course of Lautz Week 7. The hanging exercise, with the frog kick at the start of the program and again at the end, is good practice. We think it is one of the most important exercises. It stretches and aligns the spinal column, it strengthens the back, slenderizes the waist as it strengthens all of the muscles of the midsection. It provides a great deal of relaxation for those who have been sitting too long, working too long. The improved posture prevents a lot of fatigue in office and factory. It perhaps does more than any of the other exercises to improve the appearance, as it induces better posture and a slender waist. It is a good movement for the ladies T00. You will be amazed at the favorable results it produces. If there was just one exercise in symmetric training, and this hanging exercise was it alone would make the practice of isometric exercises very valuable for anyone. It is a real good exercise. 72 Functional isometric contraction. This is the entire routine. Do not do any more. Follow this routine exactly, do each exercise only once each day. Doing more will slow or stop your improvement. One Bob Hoffman predicted as a result of this routine I would not only not experience the fatigue caused by my former barbell and weightlifting routine, but I would actually have more energy after the workout than ever before. This has certainly been true. There were days when one had had a particularly trying day and did not feel energetic enough to go through my new routine, but I forced myself to do it and found that after I had finished, I not only had completed my workout as scheduled, but felt much better and more energetic than before I had started. 2. It takes from 1 to 2 weeks to get the feel of this routine. 50. Don't give it up after a few days if you do not feel as if it is helping you. You should notice definite, measurable improvement within 1 to 2 months. 3. Be sure that you continually and conscientiously exert all possible pressure upon the bar at all times. Since no actual movement is involved, no results are observable while doing an exercise, and loafing must be guarded against. I believe that 1009 effort at all times is necessary, so I must concentrate on maximum effort before attempting each movement. This is a problem not encountered in barbell movements. Because sufficient effort must be exerted or you will not complete the movement. But in using the isometric Isotonis superpower rack without weights, a push of 50 pounds does not look any different than a push of 500 pounds. 4. Competitive lifters may find that by following this routine and excluding all lifting movements, they will find themselves out of the groove, in short, out of form when they resume lifting heavy weights. It will be necessary for them to do some weight lifting practice one other time a week in addition to their total weight lifting day, especially if their form needed improving when they started this routine, but they will find in any event that their body power is tremendously increased right from the first few weeks. Tramming counts Louts Reek. 73. 5. I believe it better to complete this routine FN as short a period as possible. For a while I was resting and listening over the radio between exercises and stretching my workout to 3045 minutes, instead of the original 20 minutes. But I found that I got a better workout and felt better if I rested only long enough to recover my breath. A few important points in summary. 1. Do not do too much. 1 repetition in 8 different movements is plenty. 2. Conscientiously strive to put forth 100% effort on every movement for 6 to 12 seconds. 3. Complete your routine in 15 to 20 minutes. Do not rest 100 long between movements. 4. Keep an accurate record of your workouts and chart your progress. My work with the functional isometric contraction system of training started, be an experiment to determine the amount of strength the human skeletal muscle could be increased by means of a single maximum contraction performed once a day in a group of exercises. The strength of the muscles was tested once each week by means of 5 movements, using a barbell to measure the amount of weight lifted. The lifts used were the 3 Olympic lifts: press, snatch, clean, and jerk, which are the basis of competition in official weight lifting the world over, plus the dead weight LFT and the full squat. 2 basic exercises which involve the largest and strongest muscles of the body. The subject of this experiment, or rather demonstration as it became, was an adult, 34 years old, competitive weightlifter who had been lifting for 14 years and had trained very regularly for the 6 years prior. This experiment using the best accepted methods followed by all other American weightlifters, of handling 7 Contraction isometry. C. Contraction. Progressively increased poundages in workouts to increase strength. There was no change in the training routine or living conditions, except that functional isometric contraction training was substituted for all other weight training, except during the limit or tryout day, CAC week. It is reasonable to believe therefore, that functional isometric contraction training, the only change in the Louis Rick life and training, was responsible for the truly phenomenal gains in strength and lifting ability which were made. A record was kept of every exercise performed each day, as well as the test lifts with the barbell, once each week. As a matter of additional interest, the subject's anthropometric measurements were taken at the start of the experiment and at the time of the final outstanding total to determine to what extent muscular hypertrophy accompanied the increase in strength. These measurements were taken cold shortly after arising, at 8 a.m. The exercises were performed daily on a simple apparatus adjusted to the height required by each of the 8 movements performed, to minimize the unconscious reducing of force applied to the larger muscle groups in event of the slipping of the hand grip. The hands were strapped to the bar on those exercises in which the bar is held by the hands. For unavoidable reasons, as in the case of traveling and being far from the training quarters or other influencing factors, some workouts were missed. The workouts averaged 4 days per week, plus the day on which barbells are used, test improvement. Also, some weeks, the total day was missed because of lifting contests, or some unavoidable reason. Editor's note. While Louis Rick followed his program exactly as outlined, in continuing this program he felt that a lifter should have one other day of form training with sufficient weight to cause him to perform the movements properly. Several factors must be noted here. 1. Some of these totals were made in competition, so it was not possible 0 perform the dead weight lift and the squat movements on those days. Training counts, of Lautz Reek 7. 2. It is noteworthy that the subject's body weight remained practically constant, though his muscular measurements increased and his physical appearance was remarkably improved. 3. No special change was made in diet, although the subject continued his habit of including much good protein-rich foods in his diet as possible. Lovis reacts improvement in Lothan 5 months with the functional harmonic contraction system of training. Date 1. 6012-28.61-24-61 2361 21361 2-2061 3761 Pre 255 25 0 25 W28 SOTET 25 20 W0 AMS S 25 5% 09 Clean and jerk 315 30 385 20 WO 30% 60% 6 Olympic total 835 05 SB 0 90 80% 0 Squat 50 60 70 485 400 Dead wheel 435 460 70 430 480 Tool 720 10 1825 1900. Body weight 170 18 182 181 G1 180% 181x. Jim Tot XX. Meet 2XX. Louis Reek, weighing in the 181-pound class, of Fic. NLY Tommy Kono, the world record holder, Hose Press. Chapter 10. The Measurement of Progress. By Dr. Francis Drury, Ph.D. ABIE. Continuing the functional isometric contraction system of strength building is the periodic lifting of weights. Because of the nature of functional isometric contraction, the strength and health seeker cannot objectively measure the results of his workouts. This to many people is a mental block for continuing their symmetric work outs. They simply cannot determine how they are doing. It takes a few weeks to obtain measurable, noticeable results, and many trainees become discouraged during this time and feel that they are not making the gains they should, the gains they expected. All functional isometric contraction trainees should measure their progress regularly with a barbell. This should be done cast once a week. The exerciser should keep a record of his maximum lifts, and the poundages he can use in the various exercises and tests. The functional isometric contraction system of training should include the use of weight training and weight lifting, for there is no other suitable method of measuring the newly developed muscular power of those who practice the functional isometric contraction. The measurement of progress by the regular use of barbells is important. 1. The continued success of the functional isometric contraction system of strength and muscle building. The use of K3 Theoretic points by being me. Mberv. Tom Sansom, Mr. America 1958, 1. M. which scored I victory at the Penn. The national champion 2-mile relay. Relays. 7. Fux Riana isometric contraction. Barbells fills in the gaps between the force application of the metric system, it ties the newfound strength spots together, teaches the muscles to work in the desired channels, coordinates, and hastens the strength and bodybuilding progress. In functional isometric training, your progress may seem to be less than you expect. You may even become discouraged simply because you cannot measure your progress, cannot determine if you are making satisfactory progress. Many trainees will put forth a slight, half-hearted effort in the various movements and expect great results. They will be disappointed, for while the exercises practiced should be few, the effort expended must be with great force. Without these special weight training days, Louis Rick and Bill March would not have been able to make the progress they made. So you should include weight training at least occasionally in your program, to assure your progress and to measure your progress. This does not mean that you will make no progress without weights, it simply means that you will be working in the dark. Will not make maximum progress without weights. Functional isometric contraction training is not just for today and tomorrow, it is for life. It is not just for you, it's for everyone. All the members of your family, all Americans, and our friends throughout the world. The functional symmetric contraction system is so important in building the stronger and healthier America. The Bob Hoffman Foundation is devoted to Let's use this functional isometric contraction system as a stepping stone to greater things, to even better health, greater strength and a magnificent body. Isometric contraction training, even a minute a day, will provide a longer and a fuller life for you. Go the limit in your training, make the most of this wonderful training principle. Really live. The frog kick can be an exercise with movement which has an added slenderizing effect on the midsection, or it can be a strength building exercise, simply by pulling the legs high and holding for 12 seconds. Ray Rutledge, Mr. America 1951, in an inter-service field army champion in heavyweight boxing. Functional isometric contraction muscle. Chapter 11. Strength is most important. It. Human quality. It is the most admired human quality, the most useful human quality. You need internal strength, a strong heart, strong lungs, strong internal processes, and as all internal processes are muscular in their action, building strength is so important to your health and the length of your life. You need strength in your muscles, for the muscles control every form of motivation. They make it possible to run, to jump, to lift, to push, pull, to carry. Thighs make it possible to perform your daily work, play games, take part in sport. In this latter event they are also essential to success. Stronger athletes are better athletes, for strength is the most important characteristic of an athlete. Whether you are a competitive football player, a baseball player, a basketball player, a participant in track and field, a swimmer, a boxer, a wrestler, or whether you play golf just for fun, to win some of the awards at the country club, strength is the most important road to your success. Why is strength so important? 1. Strength increases coordination and control. 2. Strength increases speed. Strength is most important. 81. 3. Strength increases endurance, for endurance is simply the ability to carry strength over a longer distance or a longer time. 4. Strength increases explosiveness of the muscles. It is explosive power which makes Valery Brummel, an average-sized Russian, jump higher than any man in the world. It is explosive power that makes a sprinter such as Frank Butt make a new world record in the 100-yard sprint. It is explosive power that made it possible for J. Sylvester, an average man physically, to break the world record 3 times in a period of a few weeks. When the writer met Syl. Vester in Leningrad in the summer of 1961, he said that he had done a light symmetric training. We told him of the 3 threes, the 3 presses, the 3 pulls, the 3 bends, the toe raise, the shoulder shrug, all isometric exercises, and before long he started to throw the discus farther than any other man ever threw it. In fact, 16 feet farther than any other man. When you hear of new records in any sport, you can be pretty sure that the makers of these records are training the functional symmetric contraction way. For with this new system, all records in all sports will be broken and rebroken in the next 2 years. 5. Strength prevents injuries. Strong joints can stand tremendous shocks, even the bones are strengthened with this form of training. 6. Strength improves skill. 7. Strength increases balance, judgment of space and distance. 8. Strength induces better control, better performance in any sport. 9. Strength increases speed, speed in running, speed in throwing, speed in all phases of performance. 10. Strength is the most important quality of a champion athlete. 11. The Bob Hoffman system of functional isometric contraction is the fastest way to build strength. It produces strength 4 times as fast as other methods. A tremendous number of athletes attest to the statements we have made. I have written several books on the subject. Better athletes through weight training has become a classic in the athletic field. 82. Functional isometric contraction. In a specialized book such as this, we cannot mention many men who have succeeded through strength-building exercises. But it is enlightening to note that the winners, the record breakers, are men who have trained for strength. Among those whose stories are told in my book Better Athletes. 400 pages, $5 Strength and Health Publishing Company, York, P. are Bob Richards and Don Bragg. Pole vaulters, Alerta, twice Olympic champion discus thrower, Parry O'Brien, twice Olympic champion shot putter, Al Cantello, who in one short year of strength training increased his javelin throw from 231 feet 10 world record. 282, Harold Connelly, Olympic champion hammer thrower and world record holder, Bob Backus, who built his strength and weight from a meager 140 pounds at his height of 6'5", a Herculean championship winning body of 275 pounds, who has won 19 national championships, and Dick Cleveland, who after a short period of strength building, set new world's records in swimming. He showed the way to the host of record-breaking swimmers we have today. In baseball we tell of the results of strength building for Ted Williams, Lee Walls and pitcher Bob Feller, who was about 10 be released, and then after practicing strength building exercises, stayed in the big leagues for 8 years longer. In football, there are Stan Jones, Pete Dawkins, and Billy Cannon. In golf, Frank Stranahan. In tennis, all the Davis Cup Australian players. In sport the winners have built their strength, which also means their skill and endurance. When a man like Tad Weed of Ohio State kicks 10,000 goals, the last one blindfolded, you can be sure that he has trained for strength. When you hear of a forward passer, a hockey player, a batter, a basketball player, who leads the league, a leading batter in baseball, you can be sure that strength-building exercises have played their part. You who read this may have no desire or no opportunity to try to be a big league star. But you want to look well, feel well, and be a useful member of society. Perhaps you play golf at the country club, or play Elite D softball, or bowl with the company team. Paul Anderson, the strongest man in the world, about deep knee bend with 15,000 silver dollars, a total weight of 1,000 pounds, which he offered to give one Enyori who could puke at his feet. Either Los Rapoto, he tiffs an entire chorus and orchestra in the hip style as he plays Dixie the trombone. 84. Functional isometric contraction. Winning is fun, you might as well be a winner, and the best way to be a winner is 0. Practice strength building exercises. Remember please, that strength is the most important quality In every form of athletics or physical endeavor, endurance, the ability to continue this strength over a long period, coordination, control, balance, judgment of space and distance, which comes from strength-building exercises, are roads to championship performance in every sport. More strength, and the ability to properly control that strength, through the practice of one's particular sport, make it possible for the man with more strength to outdo another. Not a mere theory, it has been proven on 1,000 competitive fields. It has been proven in swimming pools, in long distance running and on the basketball court. Stronger men are those who gather the honors, on the playing field, and in life too. And the best way to build strength and muscle, which makes possible this coordinated skill in athletics, is the functional isometric contraction way. In the past, many coaches have felt that they did not have time to build strength during the playing season. This way takes so little time that lack of time is no longer an excuse. After the regular practice, athletes in many sports perform their minimum 3 movements, 1 press, 1 pull, 1 knee bend, or the preferred more result-producing 6, 2 pulls, 2 presses, 2 kNCE bends. Or the important 5, 1 press, 1 pull, 1 bend, shoulder shrug, and raise on toes. Although there are many other exercises which can be practiced the functional isometric contraction way, these are the essential movements. They build strength in natural ways, in the ways that the body most often exerts force. After building all-around strength and endurance with this simple system, you can practice the specific functional isometric contraction exercises which will improve your performance in any sport. The important thing is to make full use of this new training principle. This superior training principle, the practice of funk. Andrew Raverdi would amaze audiences by pulling a fully loaded auto with his tooth in yo olden days. This isometric exercise required good tests, a strong neck and overall strength. Hermann Gorner supports 16 men, with the big board, pounds. Great strength and balancing skill 15 required 10 perform a strength feat such as this. 86 Functional isometric contraction. Functional isometric contraction is spreading like wildfire. Teams which use this system are winning, teams which don't practice this new and better way are losing. In the future, more than ever, those who don't train the functional isometric contraction way will be pushed around. They will breathe the dust of those who outrun them, take the wash of those who outswim or outrow them, been also played in other sports. You need a functional isometric contraction superpower rack. One should be in every country club locker room, where the golfers and the tennis players can spend a single minute developing their power. 1,000 men can use one machine. There should be a number of these machines in every ballpark, for football and baseball players. There should be one or more in every gymnasium. Where basketball is played, at every indoor and outdoor pool, where that men or women come to participate in physical training. Functional isometric contraction superpower racks should be in every office, a far better way to spend a minute than with the overeating of the coffee break. Our communist enemies who are trying to bury us have exercise breaks instead of coffee breaks. We have to fight back, Let us build our strength T0, this better, this faster way. There should be functional symmetric contraction superpower. Racks in every home, in every playground, every grade school, every high school, every university. We are making good progress toward having them on every submarine, every ship, at all training camps for our armed forces. This method of training is a real break through, a way which will rapidly build not only better athletes, but a better and stronger America. Do your part to keep this wonderful training system moving. Tell everyone about the man who works next to you, everyone with whom you come in contact. That is why I worked out the medium, light and heavy system in weight training. If you have a rack which permits weight training with movement, you can exert yourself to the limit once a week. Do 80% of limit it one day, and 60% of limit another day. If your strength is most important, 87. Record was 250 in a maximum effort, you could do 200 on the 80% day, 150 on the 60% day. But you cannot do this if you are using one of the systems or the racks without movement, so that you do not work on your nerve 100 often. You can practice a form of heavy, medium and light training by exerting maximum muscular contraction one day for 12 seconds, another day for 9 seconds, and a third day maximum contraction for 6 seconds. With this sort of a system, you should not be working on your nerve too much. People are different. Some men can work their limit more often. That is why we say that each man must be his own trainer, for only he knows how he feels, what he can stand and how he is doing. You get out of exercise what you put into it, put in more and you get more. If your endurance, your nerve force and your recuperative powers will permit considerable of maximum training, you will gain faster. But if you do not feel like a million the next morning, if you do not gain as rapidly as you feel you should, as rapidly as you expect, you will be wise to use some form of the medium, heavy and light system. Vern Weaver with the F1C Strength Builder. Vern Weaver, neighbor of Bob Hoffman, could not degree 100 pounds when he first purchased York barbell. But he grew rapidly in strength and health, in spite of his poor beginning. He be 2 home 2 weightlifting champion and 5 Fiscal C contest winner, one of the best. We asked him one pose for the F1C Muscle Builder course, and on these 2 pages, you see the result.